Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Flipping the Classroom. Today I'm going to talk about reported speech. If you want to know what reported means, you can think of a reporter. A reporter is a journalist who's talking about something that is happening or something that has happened before. He can also talk about something someone else said. For example, this famous quote by a famous American president. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. It was Bill Clinton who said that, and we all know that he did have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. Now, reported speech is difficult and yet at the same time simple. Look at the picture. You see the woman, she says, I need a friend ASAP, as soon as possible. And you see something that is said by someone else. She said she needed a friend ASAP. Two ways of reporting here. You have a direct way. The example, she said I need a friend. What you see is quotation marks and then the same text as the person who speaks. In the indirect way of reporting, you see something else. She said that, or she said she needed a friend. You can leave that out, that's no problem. What you see is that there are no quotation marks and the text that the person uses or used has changed a bit. We're going to explain that later on. Now let's look at the direct report. First we have to look at the introductory verb. That is the verb before the quotation marks. Two examples here. First one, he says on Sundays I watch football. And second, he said on Sundays I watch football. What is the difference? It's in the introductory verbs. What is the tense the introductory verbs are in? In the first example, it is of course the present simple, he says. In the second one, it is the past simple, he said. This is very important because you have a difference in making this into indirect reported speech. First, we're going to talk about the present simple. And the same example, he says, on Sundays I watch football. The past simple we're going to deal with later on because it's a bit more difficult. But in the present simple, it stays the same. He says he watches football on Sunday. So if you're changing from direct to indirect reported speech, the verb between quotations does not change. At least the tense doesn't. There. That's the correct slide here. So if the introductory verb is in the present simple or even in the future simple, the tense of the quote remains the same. Another example, he says, I've been taking painkillers. That is, in indirect speech, he says he has been taking painkillers. Another example, he will say, so you use the future simple here, I am innocent. Well, it stays the same. What the tense is concerned between the quotation marks. He will say he is innocent. You're still using the simple present or the present simple between quotation marks and out of the quotation marks. All right? So there's no changes in the verb between the quotation marks. But there's trouble in paradise. Yes, it is. There are some difficulties. If the introductory verb is in the past, you have a totally different story. Look at the examples. She said, I need a friend. In indirect speech, that is, she said she needed a friend. Second example, she said, I needed a friend. In indirect speech, you have, she said she had needed a friend. So there's quite some differences there. Let's look at it more closely. If the introductory verb is in the past and the verb between quotation marks is in the present, you use the past in the indirect speech. An example, he said, I am working for a television station. In the direct speech, that is, he said he was working for a television station. So the am is changing into was. Simple present in the introductory verb in the verb between quotation marks has become a past tense in the indirect speech. If the introductory verb is in the past and the verb between quotation marks is in the past as well, then you need the past perfect. What is that? Had plus a past participle. An example, he said, I worked for a television station, in direct speech. In indirect speech, that is, he said he had worked for a television station. So that is the past perfect. Any more changes, Your Honor? Well, yes. The most important change is the change of the personal and possessive pronouns. For example, he said, I need a fag, a cigarette. That becomes, he said he needed a fag. You saw that all day long. Second example, she said, my car has broken down. She said her car had broken down. Had broken down? Yes, of course. Look at the introductory verb. It's in the past. And the verb between quotation marks is in, it's a present perfect there. So you need a past perfect. Right? There's still some more changes, important word changes in between direct and indirect speech. I have them listed up here. You can pause this video and look at it as long as you can. And if not, exercises in the lesson. Rock and roll. See you next time in Flipping the Classroom. Bye.